Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we are discussing the stainless steel black DLC coated Bremont Supermarine Chrono-Jet. This is a timepiece that gives you a chronometer chronograph, more water resistance than your average aviation watch, a GMT style bezel, and it is jet black. All of that with a second time zone. Taking a quick look at the watch, 43 millimeters in diameter. Again, it is stainless steel. It's a 50 millimeter lug-to-lug measurement. It's 22 millimeters between the lugs. It's 16 millimeters thick. Taking a quick look on the wrist, it's a large timepiece, and I'd recommend it for wrists of 15 centimeters circumference or larger. On my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that the lugs actually don't really come that close to the edge of my wrist. The strap has a little bit of stiffness that creates a little bit of extra span, so it wears like a bigger watch than it is, but it does wear securely. It's not thin, and it's very sheer of side, so don't expect it to disappear underneath the cuff. If you need a watch to look dressy, this is probably not the one. This is designed to be stark. The look is supposed to be tactical more than black tie. The strap is very substantial. You can see just how thick it is at its root. It matches the curvature of the case and the slope of the lugs for an integrated look. Everything is all black after all. There's no gap between strap and case. It's surprisingly flexible as you move away from the case. In spite of being very thick, this has every indication of being a 10-year strap. You can see this is a brand new Bremont factory strap. And the watch includes what they call their triptych case construction. By the way, also make sure you can see we have a Bremont black DLC pin buckle. You can see the little propeller logo on the strap minder. The watch uses what they call triptych case construction. So you have three primary parts. You've got a mid case that contains the movement and the dial. Then you have these lugs that are visibly separate, and you can appreciate that they do ergonomically separate the case from the lug structure, which means that these are relatively sharply curved lug profiles that wear a bit better than your average 43 millimeter watch would. If this were on a different strap that didn't have so much fight and flare to it, it would wear pretty small for a 43. Now, taking a quick look at the other features here, you can see that there's some striations in the mid case that help to break up the shear of the case. We have a little bit of a polished bevel around the edge of the lug, which is nice because it's all black, but we do have a break between satin black and polished black. Here we have a crown, and it is a screw-down crown with screw-down pushers just to reinforce that this is a 200-meter water-resistant watch. Now, most aviation watches tend to be 30 meters if you're talking about something like a Breitling Navitimer, or 60 meters if you're talking about your average IWC pilot's watch. So 200 meters right here really marks this as a member of the Supermarine family, which is a aquatic themed watch family at Bremont, and they have many others like the ALT family that are more directly aviation inspired. The Supermarines tend to be dive watches, and this is a notable exception, but it has that 200-meter water resistance just like a diver would. We have a bezel that is bidirectional. You can see the beveling outboard is also nicely polished, and then there's a knurling outboard of the beveling that's nice and sharp and a pleasure to grip. We have a ceramic insert with a 24-hour format. The idea is, and because we are, after all, making this watch in London, you might set that 24-hour hand to Greenwich Mean Time. Then you use the GMT offset of your port or airport of destination along with this bezel to find temporarily a third time zone. So you'll have Greenwich, you'll have your local time, and then you'll use the bezel to find the third time zone temporarily. Let's do a quick loom shot here. You can see there is no shortage. The bezel may be ceramic, but all of the numerals and calibrations are well loomed. You can also see that the 24-hour second time zone as well as the seconds hand on this watch have been loomed. Taking a quick look, looks like I may have to wind this one to get it going. That is the chrono seconds hand, just to be clear. This watch uses a Valjoux 7754, which is the dual time version of the ETA Valjoux 7750. Now the watch does have a lovely dial with that characteristic 1296-7750 layout. Getting a little bit closer, you can see that there's a nice medley of gold, black, silver, and red. The dial is matte black to resist glare. It does, after all, have some aviation pretense for a dive family watch. We have these lovely rose gold coated applique numerals, or I should say indices, as they are not numerals, they are indices. And it is a handsome timepiece with a good depth of field to the dial. You can also appreciate that this watch, though it is Swiss powered, is assembled and regulated in Britain, as Bremont is now the largest British watchmaker by volume, and they continue to invest in facilities to build components, adjust, and assemble their timepieces. Now you can see on the reverse side of the watch, we have a high-grade ETA Valjoux 7750. This is not a Concepto. This is not a La Jouperet. This is not a Sellita SW500. This is a real 7754, and you can tell because right on the movement, it says 7754 right there. It is chronometer certified, which means it is the chronometer spec of this movement, and it's custom finished mechanically, but custom finished to order for Bremont with a custom rotor. We have a combination of blued screws, chemically blued, admittedly, polished and engine-turned surfaces. We also have some satination on the wheels, and some of the locating pegs for various components are polished. So it's a good-looking movement. It is chronometer grade 7750, which means you've got all the bells and whistles, 27 joules, 4 hertz beat rate. It has a cam system that you can see quite easily. There's the cam right underneath my finger. Let me demonstrate one of the features of this watch. You get a combination of hacking seconds. You get, let me just make sure everything is in proper mode. You get a true quick set, which is rare on a dual time watch. You can see by turning in one direction in the intermediate position, I can quick set the second time zone. By turning in the other direction, I can quick set the date. Now on something like a Rolex GMT, the local hour hand is what's going to be used to change the date. So it's nice to have a proper quick set system. And again, the hacking seconds functionality. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Bremont Supermarine Chrono-Jet.